Alien with Bill Paxton. Roller derby questions for Jeri?
That's it. I guess they have no questions. We're out of here.
Well, I have a question. Go ahead.
Boxers.
So your work's getting chronicled on your Revision 3 show. Is there anything we can see with yours online?
Oh yeah, it's easy to see my stuff. I document almost everything on YouTube. So if you just search Jeri Ellsworth, Jeri, you have to search it with the correct spelling, and you find my YouTube and Facebook and Twitter. But I do a lot of hacking, so just whatever crazy idea comes into my head, I just prototype it and throw it up there.
Tell us about your cutout videos, your cartoons.
Oh yeah, I've been doing some videos. They're sponsored by Adafruit Industries that make a lot of really cool like hobby kits. But we're doing an A to Z of electronics series, and I'm doing it with like this really cheesy paper cutouts. So I have like Galvani chopping the legs off of, or plucking the legs off of frogs, and it's all done with me popsicle sticks and doing the voiceover, and I think it's kind of funny.
I loved it when Napoleon showed up for no reason. It was great.
I'm Napoleon.
I am French. I use canned foods for my army. We got a little bit of time still, or come on, go nuts. We can talk about spam, whatever. Come on, let's go. You look like you have a question. Let's hear it.
Yeah.
Yes, you.
Your last pinball machine, what kind of things are going to put in it from the show?
Oh,
like you mentioned the smoke monster.
I'd like to omit season 6. I'll just say that. Okay, just make this quick so we have time for more questions. I'd like to have blacklight mode where you'd have to have it in the dark, but you have some blacklight LEDs so you can see like screen printed like new paths, new things show up. We're gonna have some LEDs with like strobe LEDs like for the smoke monster, like chicka-chicka. My friend Dale had a really awesome idea. In season 5, they were in the 70s, so in that mode, all the sounds switched to electromechanical pinball sounds. And like caves, shots, Benry being punched, torture. We're gonna kind of make fun of the show, so there might be a part where you're Saeed and your girlfriends keep dying, for instance. So, yeah. So.
Mayo in there.
Oh yeah, for Hurley. Yeah. So if you have any cool ideas, just email me and we'll put them in and not give you credit. So. Yeah. Any more questions? It's Jeri Ellsworth, chip designer. Roller derby tips. Oh, here we go. Yes, Craig Culver.
Not quite, actually. I did develop some of the toaster, though.
But, hey, we got.
I knew it. So you know him. You know Craig. His wife is pretty cool. She gave me a free Scoopy doll.
Oh,
Lee Culver.
The video toaster.
Oh, I thought you meant.
My question is, I really like what you both do to help inspire to people to do what they like to do. But can you give us some inspiration about how you can make that transition from having some other job to making this be what you do and what you are?
Well, for me, it was terrible transitions every time. When I was trying to open my computer store, I was eating ramen noodles and living in the back of the store because I couldn't afford an apartment. The police came in one day because I was throwing my garbage in the neighbors' dumpsters because I couldn't afford garbage service. It was constantly, it was very embarrassing. They came in and right in front of my customer said, you do this again, we're going to cite you. A lot of tears and stuff during that time. And then again, when I tried to bust into doing chip design, I went completely flat broke. I was working, I got a side job in an electronics store, selling transistors for minimum wage and like risking getting fired because I just take off to go to Silicon Valley and to try to promote myself to get my first big gig.
The transition, though.
The transition, what?
Well, I always say the internet. The internet, I call it the great democracy. Anybody can make it on the internet. That's the most powerful, most empowering thing we have. It's a great time. If you've got something, put yourself on the internet, get like a little... I started with the GeoCities site. And if you got something like, what is that phrase? Mousetrap beating the world to your door or whatever. Put it on the internet because that's when people will come to you and then you get enough work in, and then you can transition to it being your career. How about that?
That's true. You can definitely promote yourself a lot better nowadays with Twitter, Facebook, all these different places, and presenting your work. Whereas before, like the 90s, you're having to hit the streets and actually talk to people face to face.
You had to go outside.
It's terrible.
But, oh, okay, yes.
Yeah, when you were doing the 64 on a chip, what did you use as your source of the detailed technical information, since a lot of the technical details aren't actually described in Commodore's documentation from the 1980s?
I did three things. So I looked at the emulator source, looked at what they were doing, and some of that was very useful. Some wasn't, because in software you can just go ahead and be as naughty as you want and just make it work. I looked at some historical documents, and I talked to some of the designers like Bill Hurd from Commodore, and I actually decapped some chips to look at the structure of the chips. That gave me a little bit of information. And I guess there was a fourth thing I did. I took a couple Commodore 64s and pretty much just killed them doing experiments on them. So for instance, getting the timing for the video down, there's the CPU has to be synchronized to the video precisely to Commodore demo coders and game programmers would do naughty little tricks where they would bang on the on the video chip at a particular clock cycle in the middle of the raster line. So I made external hardware that would overlay graphics on top of the video, and I would detect which instructions were being executed, and it would just put a little white pixel on the screen, and if that was off by 1 or 2 locations, I could tell whether I was off. And tons of help from guys like Mark and the software team making demo software, which all had like butt jokes in it, so it was always like, you know, Butt Blaster 2000 test, or yeah, so that's kind of.
I think for both of us, we took something that we loved and we made projects around it, and we were very passionate about it, and that passion shows through, and people can detect it. And if they know you're passionate about that, they know you'll be passionate about the next thing, and you know, I think that'll give you a lot of credence and weight in your struggles. And here's my plug. I mean, for younger people, I think it's good to encourage them to get into this, because you know, we're running out of engineers and basically anyone that makes anything with their hands. So I don't know. I just hope more people get into it, and I would hope for myself, and I'm sure you feel the same way. Inspire people. Just crack this stuff open and learn it. And it's not rocket science. It's not magic. And just learn it and try it. And you know, and if you got a good idea, build it. Work hard. Eat your vegetables and.
Drop out of school. Oh wait.
I didn't finish college either. I was like, this is boring. I've been going to school for 13 years. Screw this. Yeah, we're probably pretty good. All right. Okay. Well, I guess that's pretty much it.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, Ben.
Thank you, Jeri.